The Yukon Denali sits at the head of GMC's lineup, cleverly filling the space between the mainstream Tahoe and the ostentatious Escalade. Now, after 3 successful years on the market, they are making some small refinements, though not enough to call it a full-fledged refresh. The Denali receives most of those changes, but this review will also cover the base SLE and the mid-level SLT. So anyways, let's go ahead and see if the updates have kept the Yukon fresh. We would like to specially thank Don Franklin Buick GMC for inviting us out to film today's vehicle. If you want to find out more information about their dealership and massive inventory of new Buicks and GMCs, then click on the link to their website provided in the video description. Every Yukon comes with this key fob, which has real metal trim and a nice feel to it overall. You also have remote start standard across the board. Since we have the new Denali Ultimate package, we get the power running boards. Before we get into the changes to the interior and exterior, let's first check out the updated powertrain. Under the hood, everything is the same, except for one important change. That change is a new 10-speed automatic transmission, to pair with the 6.2-liter V8 in the Denali. Power remains the same at 420 horsepower and 460 pound-feet of torque, but 0 to 60 times will drop this year because of the transmission. The other powertrain setup, found in the SLE and SLT trims, carries over unchanged. It pairs a 5.3-liter V8, making 355 horsepower and 383 pound-feet of torque, to a 6-speed automatic transmission. Regardless of which powertrain you select, you have the choice between 2-wheel drive and 4-wheel drive. For fuel economy, the 5.3 liters numbers don't change, at 19 and 18 miles per gallon combined, but the 6.2 liters do change a bit. It still has the same combined rating of 17, but the city number has decreased to 14 and the highway number has increased to 23. If you can get past the oddness of those ratings, you'll see that they're actually pretty decent for a vehicle of this size. Anyways, let's move on to the exterior. ', 2018 brings the first styling updates to the Yukon since its introduction in 2015. The main change, of course, is this new Denali grille. It has a more open design, with offset bars kind of like the new Terrain. The other trims keep the same planar front design, and that also goes for the SLT Premium Edition's unique chrome grille. Regardless of trim, the boxy headlights continue to be HIDs on Denali and halogens on the other two. These halogen fog lights are standard on all 3 trims. For ground clearance, you have 8 inches, enough to handle basic stuff like gravel roads. Anything more serious than that, this is way too big for anyways. Like always, the Yukon offers a different wheel design for every taste. We have what I think are the best looking options, the 22-inch alloys with midnight silver inserts. They come in the Denali Ultimate package or standalone for $2,500. The standard Denali wheel is 20 inches, and the SLE and SLT have 18 inches. By my count, there are 8 other choices, all shared with the Escalade. The brakes are 13 and 13.6 inch ventilated disc in the front and rear respectively. And the tires are of course all seasons. Coming up to the mirrors, they will always be power adjusting and heated, with the SLT adding power folding and puddle lamps. We also have a turn signal and blind spot monitoring on SLT and Denali. So even though we don't have the extended wheelbase XL model, as you can see, the Yukon is still a very large vehicle. Its overall length is 204 inches, which is about 5 inches shorter than the new Expedition and the Nissan Armada. I also want to mention real fast that the Yukon Denali gets magnetic ride control from the Escalade, and that helps with both handling and ride quality. Moving on to safety, there are no official ratings for this vehicle simply because it's too big. GMC does, however, give you a suite of active safety technologies on all but the SLE. They include low-speed emergency braking, lane keep assist, and auto high-beam headlights. Full-speed auto braking and adaptive cruise control come in the Denali Ultimate package. As we walk around to the back of the Yukon, you won't see any changes from last year. You still have a large chrome piece in the middle, and these LED taillights on every trim. The bracket design kind of mimics the headlights in the front. And down below, you have an exhaust pipe hidden behind the bumper and a 17-inch spare tire. In regards to towing, all Yukons are very capable, but surprisingly the 6.2 liter can tow less at 8,100 pounds versus 8,300 pounds with the standard 5.3 liter. You have a wiper nicely hidden under the spoiler, and all models come with roof rails, but they're chrome only on Denali. The standard size Yukon comes with a 26-gallon fuel tank. That puts the fuel range at 494 miles for the most efficient two-wheel drive 5.3 liter, and 442 miles for this setup, 6.2 liter with 4-wheel drive. Premium is recommended for max performance, but not required. Well, that concludes the exterior, so now let's check out the interior changes. So first, looking inside, you won't notice an abundance of differences, but there are some subtle changes. This of course is the jet black color option, but the Denali can also choose between Cocoa Shale and an exclusive Cocoa Dark Atmosphere. The other two trims also have black or shale color options, for the SLT's leather and the SLE's cloth seats. The door trim is made up of a lot of really nice materials, with stitched leather everywhere your arm would touch. And this is your new real Mastique Ash wood, which I have to say really elevates the look. The front two windows are fully automatic, the back's auto down only. And you also have two-person memory functions for the SLT and Denali. This 12-way power driver's seat with 4-way power lumbar is included on the SLT and Denali. The SLE's is 10-way. Both SLT and Denali get this perforated leather, though the SLT does without the contrast stitching. You also get special Denali embroidering. The power running boards are really large, so getting in is super easy. First, looking around the cabin, you can see how the Yukon fits in between the Tahoe and the Escalade, especially with the new improved materials. The entire upper dash is still all soft-touch plastic with stitching. But now in the middle, you have the new wood and darkened aluminum in addition to the leather. That leather continues along the side and through the middle. And all in all, everything feels nice and fits together well. To start, press the button. After you do, the 8-inch IntelliLink screen boots up across all three trims. So the Denali's gauges are unique from the rest of the lineup, since they have a large 8-inch display built into them. If you've seen any of our previous General Motors reviews, you'll be familiar with all the cool things this screen can do, like for instance changing the design theme. In addition to that, Denali throws in a heads-up display. You can change its positioning, brightness, and choose between 4 or 5 different clusters of information. Every Yukon has electric power assisted steering, and also a leather wrapped wheel with added aluminum trim on the Denali. The buttons up here are for your cruise, auto braking, and heated steering wheel on all but the SLE. On the other side you have voice, phone, and the multifunction display buttons. Lastly, the wheel is power on SLT and Denali. A strange standard feature on all trims is rain sensing wipers. Off to the side of that, you have a panel with a lot of controls, including for the Denali's trailer brake and 4-wheel drive system. Above that, you have stuff like the power pedals. These come on SLT and up. Moving on to storage, it's really hard to beat a Yukon in the sheer volume of it. This center console is probably the biggest in the business, and it could easily swallow an entire computer or purse. You also have a 12-volt outlet, 2 USBs, and an aux jack. On top of it, you also have a wireless phone charger. Up in the front, the 2 storage areas are covered on Denali, but it's still pretty big. And there are 3 more connections. Finally, if you have some drugs or something to hide, you have another space and a USB behind the screen. All of that space is made possible by this column shifter. You do have the ability to manually control gears, and pressing the end activates the tow mode. When in reverse, the standard backup camera appears. It has trajectory and parking sensors are standard on all models, but I do wish it had the Escalade's 360-degree camera. Moving on from that, Tri-Zone Automatic Climate Control is another nice standard feature. I appreciate the ergonomically sound layout, which is much better than the capacitive buttons on the Escalade. There is also a separate panel for the rear climate control, if you don't want them to make their own adjustments. To go along with the climate, SLT and Denali have 3-stage heated seats with separate back and butt, and also 3-stage ventilation. Now let's listen to the 10-speaker Bose Centerpoint sound system. Sound quality is pretty solid. And now that brings us to the infotainment portion, so let's take a quick look. Starting here in audio, you can play, pause, and skip tracks straight from this screen with the standard Bluetooth. You also have presets along the bottom, and shortcuts to other functions along the top. Next we have phone. You can scroll through your synced contacts from your phone, or just dial manually on this pad. There is also text message support. Projection is where the standard Android Auto and Apple CarPlay systems would show up if you connect your phone via USB. I won't demonstrate this now, but we do have a separate video that covers these features. Now let's look at the integrated navigation. The map is clear and moving around is smooth. Also, pinch to zoom is supported. Finally, let's quickly discuss OnStar. From here you have many different features, including the well-known 4G LTE Wi-Fi hotspot. If you want to see a more detailed look at all of the IntelliLink system, then check out our dedicated tech help video. A link is provided in the description. Up top you have an auto-dimming mirror on SLT and Denali, with separated HomeLink remotes up here. This knob adjusts the tailgate height, and these for the moonroof. Strangely enough, this is not even standard on the Denali, and there is no panel option due to the rear entertainment system. But overall, I really like what GMC has done with the cabin. Think of it kind of like the Tahoe's interior design, but paired with the Escalade's nicer materials. The new wood and aluminum elevate the ambience, as does the comfort, space, and technology. To me, the cabin doesn't feel like it's 4 years old. Now, we'll check out the rest. Looking into the rear of the Yukon, you'll find a healthy 39 inches of legroom and 38.7 inches of headroom. That does put it a little bit behind its biggest rivals, the new Expedition and the Nissan Armada, but nothing too noticeable. The XL version would increase those metrics just a bit. Turning to the door trim, it's identical to the front, with leather and wood trim. The passengers get a grab handle. We'll start off with the rear amenities. The back has its own climate zone on all Yukons, but the heated seats are not for the SLE. Below that, you have several connections, and off to the side, a household outlet and 12-volt outlet. Down at the bottom, you have a storage bin, perfect for storing the rear DVD remote if you opt for that. Here's the actual screen, which is 8 inches and supports Blu-ray DVDs. While we're up here, the headliner is nice, and here's the air vent. As you can see, with the seat adjusted to my driving position, there is plenty of leg space in the back. Here on the other side, where the seat is all the way back, there is still enough space to be comfortable. However, things get much tighter in the third row. Obviously, it's small back here, but the real issues are that I can't move my feet and the absolute lack of thigh support. If you use the third row with any frequency, I'd recommend checking out the XL version. So on the key fob, you'll notice two options. The first opens the glass. It's nice to have the extra option, maybe to keep things like groceries from falling out. You can also open the main portion with your foot. Once it opens up, you'll find only 15.3 cubic feet of capacity with all the seats in place. The load height is also quite high, but there is a little bit of storage under here. On SLT and Denali, you can power fold the seats. As you can see, that expands things a lot to 51.7 cubic feet. But you can also fold the second row for a maximum of 94.7 feet. If this still isn't enough, the XL version offers about twice the space. A complete breakdown of pricing comes at the end. The seat on the passenger side is the same 12-way power with 4-way lumbar. The glove box is dampened, but it's not very big compared to the center console. Well guys, that's it for this in-depth look at the 2018 GMC Yukon Denali. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and come along with us again as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.